think that, and it is a lot of Gen Z kids who are saying this mad stuff. They were kids. They were 4 or 5 and they were just happy to see John Cena. They don't remember it. They don't remember it. They don't go back and watch it. And they're like, or if they do, they go back and watch the match and they have good feelings and they're like, oh, it's brilliant.
Or they watch the highlights, the clips.
Yeah. And it's like, oh, it's brilliant. It's like, no, it wasn't. It was the worst thing ever. We were grown. We were adults, if like, late teens, 20s, trying to watch Raw with Cena on top after Jericho was finished. When we were, as you said, 2015, 2018, the horrific years. It was just like before AEW started, you should really go back and watch how bad that product was. Go back and watch 2005, 2006. Actually, yeah, go back and watch 2005, 2006. And I'm not talking about the good ones. I'm talking about Bobo Lashley versus John Cena at SummerSlam. Go back and watch that match. Go enjoy it.
Your man who was a pirate.
Oh, yeah, Paul Burchill. Yeah, go back and see how great that was under Vince McMahon and how great John Cena was. No, it's just, look, you were just swindled. You were a kid. You have an emotional attachment to it, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, as I said, a big part of this show is going in and separating our emotional attachment from the Attitude Era, which, again, a lot of people think it's the best thing ever, and it's a great watch, but,
tremendous energy and atmosphere. But apart from the very top, like the main event, the matches are mostly terrible.
Mostly terrible 2-minute squash matches or nonsense that doesn't go anywhere.
And then even the main event matches, only some of them are actually really good. It's wrestling has an awful nostalgia pull. Like, because even I would still think to myself, like before. So whenever I suggested we do the In Your House arc, in my head, the New Gen era was great. And when you go back and watch it, like, again, apart from Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, it's a whole load of people with gimmicks that are jobs, like
a whole lot of Savio Vega.
A whole lot of Savio Vega. A whole lot of guns.
Flash Funk.
What do you call it? Is it Mars Moon? Who was the Moon guy? Oh my God,
But see, that's the thing. It's like context matters, and it gets lost in the shuffle here. And this really has, and I've never really seen this happen. And I didn't think it would, because we have the internet, right? I mean, you can literally go back and watch all this stuff in context if you really want to. But no, they're just like, no. And you have to think about it. Why does an AEW exist? Why did the TNA exist? Why was TNA such a hardcore hotbed for fans who were basically refugees from WWE? That's what TNA was. Hardcore TNA fans, and I'm not talking about the modern ones, I'm talking about the real ones who have watched it as long as I have, or slightly longer, were WWE refugees. And you were like, the product is so bad, I cannot watch it because Cena's here. Your choice is Batista, who was actually worse than Cena. And you're like, I just don't know what I just can't.
Orton, I mean, for me, Orton is one guy I cannot figure out. Like, people of a certain generation put him in the all-time greatest category.
Again, it's because like Orton's run is uniquely long. Like, the guys aren't hurting themselves. Like in WWE, they're not hurting themselves anymore. If they get hurt, it's a freak accident. The way they work is not dangerous anymore. It's longevity, which is why you have these massive long runs. Back in the day, now I'm not saying that was better, because unless you're the Undertaker, who misses the days of having a gun in your bag, it's just still crazy. But like, the guys would, they 2 or 3 years, that's it. You make your money, then you go back and you retire, and hopefully you're okay. But the business has changed. It's not like that anymore. But look at TNA. A lot of the guys on top now, they would work that more crazy style. They're either in WWE in backstage roles, or they're finished completely. Like look at Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode was one of the biggest stars of that time period, in equal to John Cena, as far as like his run was around the same time. He was as big as Cena in TNA. Had a small run in WWE, and that was it. You know, and it's because his body was so broken down from all the matches. Abyss is the same. You know, it's just a different approach to wrestling.
Obviously, you don't want to see people, no matter how much you dislike them as a wrestler or character, you don't want to see people getting hurt. But is that cycle of people having, you know, like these 20-year runs at the top, is that good for the business? Is that
no? Clearly, it's not.
A lot of younger people coming up, and
clearly, it's not. I mean, like Cena's legacy in the latter part is not reflective of his actual legacy, right? Like again, like I don't want to be too harsh on him, but there is a lot of vitriol here because he did a lot of damage to the business, right? There's two sides of the coin here. When we were in WrestleView, Hunter Golden would be a big fan of John Cena because he knew him personally, and his view on wrestling from a monetary standpoint is correct, but from a business standpoint, long term, it's actually quite damaging. Here's what I mean. So you have WWE making more money than it ever has. WWE, when Cena was on top, was more successful than the Attitude Era, the New Generation, and the Fed years combined, right? Obviously now it was bought by TKO, ridiculous money, making money hand over fist, the stock price is through the roof, right? So obviously they're doing something right, and they are. But there's the other side of the coin. They have very little for the future, and people who should have taken over from John Cena didn't, either because Vince didn't want to push them, or because, in probably more likelihood, Cena didn't want it. Remember, John Cena single-handedly beat an entire crop of new guys called the Nexus. If you're a 20-something kid listening to this, and you're one of those people going mental over what happened to John Cena, I want you to go back and watch John Cena versus the Nexus. He beat 5 guys who should have been on top, including Wade Barrett.
Not 5 nobodies either. Wasn't Bryan Danielson one of them?
Yeah, well, he had been fired and let go, so he was on Cena's team. But yeah, initially Daniel Bryan was in the Nexus. So this was SummerSlam or Survivor Series, was one or the other, and it was like a 5-on-5. Daniel Bryan was in Cena's team.
That was the next decade of your company.
Yeah, no, that was the next decade of that company. 5 stars could have carried it in different areas, Wade Barrett being the big heel. Cena single-handedly beat every single one of them, not even competitively. He just pinned them all one after another, and that was it. That was it. Gone. 10 years. Gone. Cena on top. And he did that to every single possible challenger. Rusev as well was one of them. Rusev could have been huge. Now he's back, but nowhere near as big as should have been. Umaga, RVD didn't get a proper run as a result. There are just these bodies that are left there, and it's because of John Cena. So anyone who's upset that Gunther beat Cena, the latter part of John Cena's career is what he should have done 10 years beforehand, where he should have given back.
Not when he's basically just an actor now and can barely move.
Exactly. Like, it's as much as I appreciate John Cena's last run, for how actually interesting it was kind of fumbled. There's enough people online talking about how fumbled it was, but for me, it's more, the reaction to it is more indicative of this happened way too late. Cena messed up people's perception of the way wrestling's supposed to go. You're not supposed to be King Louis XIV and rule for 70 years. You're supposed to just have your time and build the future. So there can.
And the irony of it is that a Cena heel turn 10 years ago would have been legitimate. It would have been like a Hogan style.
Would have been incredible. Would have been incredible. Yeah. That's what people wanted. And also, in that heel turn, guess what you would have got, Martin?
Baby faces who went over him.
A mega face who went over him. The way you're supposed to do it. And it's a combination of Cena not wanting to do it, and Vince definitely not wanting to do it. And also the business not needing him to do it because TNA wasn't a competition. There wasn't an AEW. And even if there was, they still wouldn't have done it anyway because they wouldn't have seen him as competition. So